Welcome, my name is Pamela Kearns from Peyote Dreams Jewelry Designs, and I'm back with another left-handed instruction video. This time we're going to take a look at wrapped loops. Now, to use wrap loops, or to get started with wrap loops rather, we're going to be using the following tools. A pair of round nose pliers, a pair of flush cutters, and it is important hopefully that your flush cutters have a very good point, and you will see why shortly. And also a pair of grasping pliers. They could be flat nose, they could be chain nose pliers, or in my case I'm using bent nose pliers. Also, the materials we're going to be using are some thinner gauge head pins, some beads of course, as well as you'll notice I have some seed beads. These are size 11 Miyuki seed beads, and you're going to see why I use those quite a bit as well. Instead of head pins, you could use eye pins. You could also use just plain wire and create wrap loops with that as well. So let's zoom in a little bit and let's take a look at what a wrap loop is. Let's get this head pin out of the way first. So here's a bead with a wrap loop on both ends. And this was done using the 24 gauge wire. I put the wire through, created a wrap loop on one side, and created the wrap loop on the other. Another application for it would be here for earrings. I've got a piece of onyx and sardonyx that have been attached using head pins and attached directly to the last link of a chain, and there is one on each end of the chain. And then the ear wire was created or added about midway, not quite, to create a pair of earrings. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. And this is the bead we're going to use today and the head pin. So, what do we do now? Now, the reason we use the seed bead here is because the finer head pins do not have a very large nail head on it. And what happens is that the bead slides right off, which really is not all that helpful. So we put the seed bead on first, and then we put the bead on. And that seed bead just makes that head pin nail head portion just a little bit larger so that it does not slide through the bead. Okay, so let's get started. With our round nose pliers, we're going to put the jaws side by side at the top of the bead, and we're going to give it a good sharp bend. So when I say sharp bend, I mean a 90-degree bend, just like that. So I'm going to now turn my pliers so that the jaws are one on top of another, and we'll just slide this. This is the horizontal part where we bent the bead, and we're going to try and get this as close to that bend where we created that bend as much as possible. Okay, so let's see if I just lighten that a little bit. It's not quite there, but we can compensate for that. So the loop is done in two parts. Over the top, we flip our pliers, or you can just simply insert it into the lower jaw and underneath. Now, yeah, it looks really wonky right now, but that's okay. That's because we couldn't get quite close enough to that bend. So to fix that, it's really easy to fix. What we're going to do is just take this and roll it toward the center of that bead, and just try to maintain. There is our wrap loop. Okay, so if it's not quite perfect, not to worry about it. So I'm going to make this wire just come out a little bit more at 90 degrees. Next step is that we're going to take this piece of wire, this is all the excess that we didn't need, and wrap it around the portion of the wire that's coming through the bead. I tend to call that the stem. And to do that, I'm going to use my grasping pliers, in this case the bent nose pliers. I'm holding this in my dominant hand, my left hand. If you happen to be right-handed and following along, then what you're going to do is you're just going to hold it in your right hand, and in your non-dominant hand, in my case my right hand, I'm going to take this excess wire, my round nose pliers are at the very end, and just wrap it. I am going to release that wire just so it doesn't wrap around the jaws of the round nose pliers. So there we are. That has wrapped all the way around. It's wrapped with a couple of turns. That is secure. And now with our cutters, and this is why a pair with a good sharp tips come in. Come on, we have an audience, behave. There we go. Let's discard that. There is our wrapped loop. So that is a closed wrap loop. In other words, you cannot open it again once you have sealed it. So it is not like a simple loop that can be opened. This is a closed loop. That's what makes it extremely secure. Now, if I wanted to attach this, for example, to an end of a chain like you saw on the earrings, you're going to attach that midway through your the making of the wrap loop. So let's set that aside, and let's pull out. I've already got, for example, a wrap loop attached to the end of a chain, and I'm going to very quickly just review again what it means to do this. Okay, so there it is. I've plopped that onto a head pin. There is a seed bead again, keeping it from falling off. So jaws side by side, sharp bend. Turn my pliers so that the jaws are one on top of another, getting in as close as possible. And just a reminder that wherever this wire is along the jaw, that's the size of your loop. So over the top of the jaw, reinsert the lower jaw in the same place, underneath the jaw. Remember, it's done in 2 steps. Roll it and center it. And there you are. At this point, what you do is then add it to the chain, pull the chain along and into that loop, just like that. And now we can finish wrapping this loop. And as you can see, it's not a very big space. And this is where it's really handy to have a chain nose or a bent nose, the tips, using it to hold it nice and securely. So just as we did before, take this, wrap it a couple of times, making sure I'm not wrapping the wire around my jaws, and again trim. There we are. So to create an earring, I would take an ear wire, put it a little bit off center, but maybe a couple of links over, and I could attach an ear wire to there, and I'd have a pair, half of a pair rather, of earrings. So that is the wrap loop. It is secure, it is elegant, and yes, it does take some practice. Play with your wire, play with the head pins. It'll soon become second nature. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.